nearly half of the country learning they were targeted by Russian hackers. The Department of Homeland Security notifying that 21 states on Friday, including several won by Hillary Clinton. Here to talk more about that, and of course the latest on the Russia probe, is Josh Gerstein from Politico. Thank you so much for joining us, Josh.
Hey, Elizabeth, good to be here.
As we talked about, I don't even really know where to begin. We heard this news last night that 21 states, if the correct wording would say that they were tampered with during the election. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, and is that something we should be worried about?
Well, it's really not so much a question of whether the election results were tampered with, but whether there was some effort to do something in connection with their election systems. Usually these efforts are focused on the voter registration systems and maybe trying to hack into them or make copies of them. And so there was this notification to 21 states that the federal government believes that there was at least some attempt. It may have been a lame attempt. It may have been a sophisticated attempt by some actors, probably involving Russia, to get into those systems and muck around.
Officials were hacked, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. But now there's a long distance between that and somebody actually being able to change election outcomes, which is a much trickier thing to do the way the systems are set up.
I want to shift a little bit because there was a lot of news this week about the Russia investigation. A lot of heat has turned up around Paul Manafort. What's your takeaway from that, and what do you think is what we should be paying attention to the most?
Well, I mean, the big news there was that there's word that Paul Manafort has been told that he's likely to be indicted. One of the big stories out of the week was the fact that, or I should say at least the allegation, that he was trying to trade his position on the Trump campaign for some kind of financial benefit, offering briefings to an individual who apparently owed Manafort and some of his associates money. If he was able to give them information about the Trump campaign, maybe they would pay up on some of their debts. I mean, you can be sure that that's something that Mueller's investigative team, the special counsel Robert Mueller, is looking at very closely. Although it's worth pointing out, it's not really clear whether something like that is illegal. You're not a public official when you're working on a campaign.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is it unsavory or is it criminal?
Well, that is unsavory, probably. It's certainly the kind of thing that would get you fired from most campaigns if anybody heard about it and be a big scandal. Whether it's illegal is another question. I think if you hear about that down the road and part of any criminal charges, it would be more of the atmospherics and telling the narrative than saying that it's necessarily specifically illegal, although it could be, depending on how you set it up. There could be elements of fraud, wire fraud, or other kinds of transactions that maybe could get someone in trouble trying to arrange something like that.
And sort of a sidebar here, but if you looked up at your screen, you probably saw a photo of Mark Zuckerberg this week. Facebook was also in the news when it comes to the Russian investigation and ad buying. Was that a big surprise to you?
Well, I mean, what that shows me is that the Facebook people have sort of made an about face here. They initially were saying, oh, we can't share these ads, especially with Congress. Maybe we can't give them to the special prosecutor unless he has a certain type of warrant. These are private customer information, these ads. And when Mark Zuckerberg returned from maternity leave, from paternity leave, I should say, he was pretty clear that he had made a decision to go in a different direction, to show a more cooperative attitude, and I think to try to ingratiate himself to investigators and the American public as this investigation goes forward.
Well, Josh, there's so much to sort through. We appreciate you joining us. I'm sure we're going to have you back because it's only going to get more heated, if you will, and we're learning more every week. I know you were at the courthouse this week, so we'll have you back. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here.
Appreciate it.